Hello, my name's Elaine and welcome to Story, Science and Secrets, episode 12. If you haven't heard our story before, you'll need to go back to episode 1 where our adventure begins. But for everybody else, now where were we? Ah, that's right. At the very top of the Fossil Record Office, the Registrar is about to make humans extinct, while far below, on the back of the Hercules bird, Moog looks on in despair.
Moog shut his eyes, too scared to look. But then he opened them again. Came a cry from far above. The Registrar was pushing, but try as it might, Moog's handprint wouldn't fit into place.
What's wrong with it?
This unexpected problem gave them a chance to catch up. But to climb that distance, that fast, Herc had realised there was only one thing for it.
I'm gonna have to blow me gas bag.
Oh no! Oh, anything but that!
Cried Patrick, visibly cowering at the idea as the Hercules strained and they felt his vast underbelly begin to fill with gas.
Do you really think this is wise? I mean, you know what happened back then. You could, kaboom!
Why, I see,
Said Herc, reddening in the face till his belly stuck out like a zeppelin.
I've been holding this in for 65 million years, and now seems as good a time as any to see if it still works. Hold on to your hats, gentlemen, please.
With this, the Hercules flicked his tail back under his belly, scraping it against his rough skin. As he did, sparks flew, and Moog realised what was about to happen.
Wind power.
The sparks ignited a great mass of gas as it blasted from Herc's belly, and with a massive roar and a jet of flame, the huge creature shot upwards like a rocket. Moog, Rockford and Patrick clung on for dear life as Herc hurtled upwards towards the bat.
Better out and in.
Said Herc as they came to a halt just below the bat.
Why doesn't it fit?
Screamed the Registrar, who was still trying to fit the handprint into its slot in the wall.
What is the matter with it?
In despair, the Registrar pulled the slab out again, and as it did, Rockford could see why the handprint wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit because it had something stuck underneath it the Registrar couldn't see. Something very small and sticky. It was Ick. Rockford looked up in astonishment. Ick looked back.
What's that?
That
Cried Patrick in amazement.
is Ick.
The Registrar cursed again and shoved the handprint into the wall once more. But this time, with the Hercules now hovering just below him, he pushed so hard the tablet snapped in two and fell. The Registrar yelled a terrible shriek of despair, and the Ick, stuck to a slab of mud, dropped from the sky, a panicked look on its little face. But fortunately, for the Cocklebur Ick, not far below was a massive Hercules bird. And on its back were Rockford, Patrick, and a young human. And as Ick fell, in its panic, it saw the human reach out bravely and catch it perfectly.
Yes!
Rockford barked happily, and they all watched as Moog's broken handprint disappeared below into the inky blackness at the centre of infinity.
Hello, Ick.
Said Moog.
I've never seen anything like you before.
Ick looked up at him. Ick still didn't really trust humans.
I could see how sad you were without your friend.
Said Ick to Rockford as they turned for home.
So when I heard the animals talking about how they could get rid of humans, I decided to give your one another chance.
Moog smiled at the brave little creature, and Rockford licked the Ick to say thank you. And then immediately wished he hadn't.
Never mind when the world seems unkind and you're small. If you try and you do what is right, then you're tall. Ooh. And you could save the world, the life. Go and change the world and make it all right. You gotta save the world, it's nice. Come and join in world delight. Go and save the world, the life. Never mind if they leave you behind, 'cause you're small. Just bide your time and the meaning of life will unfold. And you could save the world, the life. Go and change the world and make it all right. You gotta save the world, it's nice. Come and join in world delight. You go and save the world, the life. 'Cause even though you're small, you might.
So, the world tonight is in need of answers. There are big questions on everyone's mind concerning life, its infinite variety, and ultimate meaning. But first, some commercials.
So now dogs and humans were safe again.
Here in Germany, we are very excited. The excitement is very enormous.
The first news that dogs were reappearing came through at around midnight in Britain. And soon, excited correspondents were bringing updates from a world united in wonder and celebration.
This is amazing! I've never seen anything like this since a wombat got loose in the Opera House.
Day breaks here in England, camera crews from all the world's news networks are waiting here in Battersea Park in the hope that we might gain an explanation of what has happened. For now, the experts are baffled. Professor Gilda McLean is one of the Natural History Museum's leading zoologists. Professor McLean, what do you make of the mass dog disappearance?
Well, clearly this is an unprecedented extinction event.
Moog's mother turned down the TV.
We need to get down to the park,
She said to her brother.
They're all coming back. And if Moog's with them, I might just forgive you. Goodness, I didn't see that coming. But the adventure continues. And if you want to hear what happens next, you'll need to listen to Stories, Science and Secrets, episode 13. But right now, I'm back here with Matthew and Steve.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about a sound that hasn't been heard for over 60 million years.
Until just now.
Wind power.
When we created the sound of the Hercules bird blowing his gas bag, we knew it needed to sound pretty spectacular.
And so the sound effect we created is actually a mix of lots of different noises all played together. There are explosions, balloon whooshes, windy noises, of course.
Hello, Grandma.
But the main sound we used is a recording of the Apollo 11 Saturn V space rocket taking off on its way to the moon back in 1969. And that was loud.
Very loud.
In fact, at 203 decibels, it's thought to be one of the loudest man-made sounds ever created.
thousands of times louder than the loud sounds you might know, like firework explosions or planes taking off. Just unbelievably loud.
Apparently, people could hear the rumble from over 100 miles away.
What's even more amazing is that despite this enormous sound level, there is an animal that makes a noise that's just as loud.
I think I know who this is, because without doubt, the loudest animal that's ever walked planet Earth is my ex-flatmate from college. I won't mention his name in case he's listening, although, to be fair, he's probably deaf by now, so he wouldn't be able to hear anything anyway. Tim Smethurst. But he was just the loudest person ever. Even the quietest things he would manage to make into eruptions of noise, like pushing a cup down on a table, not something that necessarily has to make a huge amount of noise. I'm doing it now. See, you can't even hear it. With him, he would put it down and go... and the whole flat would shake. And if he came in at night trying to be quiet, the act of him trying to be quiet was immensely loud. And then when he knocked something over, which he inevitably did, crash, he would then, rather than slinking away into his bedroom, he would shout, "Oh, sorry, did I wake you up?" And so if he hadn't woken you bulldozing through the door, that was guaranteed to do it. And eating breakfast, oh my goodness, it was like a hippo eating spaghetti bolognese with a shovel. Anyway, he was a lovely bloke, but he was the noisiest animal that has ever lived. Was it him you were talking about?
Yes. Just for any lawyers listening, that's the entirely fictional Tim Smethurst.
So, the loudest sound on Earth isn't your ex-flatmate.
No, it's the sperm whale. Scientists have recorded special clicks and ticks that the sperm whale makes at 230 decibels, and they can be heard underwater thousands of miles away. Now, even though the way sound is measured underwater is different than in air, it's still an incredible noise.
I still can't believe it's as loud as Tim Smethurst eating breakfast. Actually, can we talk about the Apollo Saturn V rocket again for a moment?
I think that might be a good idea.
Right, I do have an amazing fact. How fast do you think the Saturn V or any other rocket has to travel to escape the Earth's gravity to reach space? What's called escape velocity.
No, tell me.
It needs to be travelling at 7 miles per second. That's 11 kilometres per second, or over 25,000 miles, 40,000 kilometres per hour. 7 miles per second. Just try this now. Count 1. You've done 7 miles.
That's fast.
It is a little sprightly. In fact, achieving this escape velocity is one of the biggest challenges of space travel. And you can get a feel for how amazing it really is by seeing how long it takes to travel 7 miles in, say, a car. OK, in London or New York or any big city, driving 7 miles takes about 3.5 days. But even on the motorway or interstate, driving at 70 miles an hour, it'll still take you about 6 minutes. Now imagine doing that distance in 1 second.
Wow.
So, as we now know, the island of Infinity is full of millions and millions of creatures, all of whom can talk. Really rather excellent English too. Now, obviously, if they all just squeaked and grunted, it wouldn't be much of a story, but we did think now might be a good time to say just a little bit more about animals and talking.
Has anyone heard of Dr. Dolittle? It was a book, a famous film made in the 1960s, and more recently one with Robert Downey Jr., otherwise known as Iron Man. It's about a doctor who can speak to animals.
Yes, and something that's important, though, is that he learns to speak the animals' language. He doesn't try and get them to speak English or any other human language. He learns from them.
And that's a way of thinking which, thanks to a new field of science called bioacoustics, is now inspiring scientists.
Back in the 1970s, there was a lot of excitement about a chimp called Coco, who was taught sign language.
Can I have a banana?
And there's other animals that have also been taught to sign, like dolphins, for example.
Can I have another fish, please?
But scientists have never been sure if the animals really knew what they were saying or just copying and pleasing the humans.
Now scientists think that they may actually be able to decode and work out animal language, whatever that may look and sound like.
Because animals might not communicate like us at all. Why would they?
Scientists call the study of animal noises bioacoustics, and tiny microphones that can be hidden everywhere from the Amazon to the Arctic, high up in trees or deep down in the ocean, means that they can now record the natural world in new, amazing detail.
Then artificial intelligence, or AI computers, scan the massive amounts of information these recorders capture and try to find patterns in it. Patterns which make non-human communication.
And it's working too. One study looking at bats found that they have 15,000 different sounds.
What are they saying?
Well, apparently they're arguing, mostly, about food.
Brian, get your thieving wings off my sandwich. Go and echolocate something of your own.
Yeah, the bats even seem to have their own names. And mother bats speak to their babies by babbling and cooing, just like human mothers, except they lower their voice instead of raising it.
Honeybees also have their own way of communicating with each other using body movements, a bit like dancing, and some sounds too.
And this new way to understand animals is opening our minds to their wonderful, rich world.
Who knows, we may even soon be able to really talk to the animals.
What would you say if you could talk to an animal?
I'd tell Kenny to stop catching mice.
Excuse me, I'm still waiting for my banana.
Where's my sardines?
In our story, the cocklebur has just saved humans from extinction.
It's our reminder that the smallest of creatures can make big things happen.
There are examples in our human world where young people who may seem small to adults, like Greta Thunberg and Malala Yousafzai, can become powerful spokespeople for global movements.
And in the animal kingdom too, there are lots of examples where little things have a huge influence in the world.
Here are just a few to think about. 2 good, 1 bad, and 1, well, you decide for yourselves. Heroic bees.
Bees are the planet's little superheroes, playing a huge part in supporting the Earth's biodiversity and food supply.
As pollinators, bees support countless types of plant, giving us fruits, vegetables, and nuts.
Without bees, the colours in our fields and the flavours in our food would fade away.
And it's not just honeybees. Did you know that worldwide there are around 20,000 species of bee, including
bumblebees, well, we know about them.
Violet carpenter bees.
Cuckoo bees.
Sweat bees, ugh, they must work especially hard.
Burrowing bees.
Let-it bees, I'm not sure about that one.
Buff-tailed bumblebees.
And hairy-footed flower bees.
Oh, and about 19,990 more.
So bees are small, brilliant, and there's lots of them.
But many species are now endangered, so find out more and see what you can do to look after bees, wherever in the world you may be.
There are links in our story notes that will tell you more.
Heroic plankton.
In the vast expanse of Earth's oceans, minuscule organisms called plankton, invisible to the naked eye, have a huge impact on the planet's health.
There are 2 types of plankton: phytoplankton, which are tiny plants, and zooplankton, which are tiny animals.
And they are the foundation of the ocean's food web. Basically how everything in the ocean lives, eats and supports each other.
Phytoplankton also produce half the world's oxygen. But not only do they breathe life into the atmosphere, they also take in huge amounts of carbon dioxide, playing a vital role in regulating the Earth's climate.
Zooplankton are also a crucial link in the food chain, feeding loads of marine species, from small fish to massive whales.
Plankton also act as what are known as carbon sinks. As they die and sink to the bottom of the sea, they lock up carbon, which is partly responsible for climate change.
This not only helps reduce climate change, but also helps keep the balance of carbon levels in our atmosphere.
So little plankton hold the key to the health of our planet.
Villainous mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes might be small, but many scientists agree that they are the deadliest creature on Earth.
Mosquitoes spread a disease called malaria that's a serious health threat in hot climates, especially in Africa.
Malaria is caused by tiny parasites that mosquitoes carry. And when a mosquito bites a person infected with malaria, it picks up these parasites. And then, when the mosquito bites someone else, it passes on the parasites, and that's how the disease spreads.
Malaria can make people very sick, causing bad fevers and chills. In some cases, it can be deadly.
But here's the good news. Scientists are working hard to stop malaria, from giving out bed nets treated with bug-killing spray to creating vaccines to protect people from getting sick.
Some researchers are now using advanced tools like altering mosquitoes' genes, we talked about them in episode 11, so they can't spread malaria anymore.
So, although mosquitoes are small, they have a big effect on the world.
But we're fighting back against malaria and making the world a safer place.
Now here's a really strange story about another little creature that makes a big difference. Good or bad? We'll let you decide.
The tiny lone star tick is a common bug found mainly in southeastern United States. And this seemingly innocuous little creature is becoming famous because of its strange effect on humans.
Some people, when bitten by the lone star tick, are put off eating meat, becoming vegan or vegetarian.
The lone star tick, named after the white dot on its back, injects chemicals into the bloodstream when it bites a human. And among these chemicals is a sugar molecule called alpha-gal that can lead to the change in diet for some people who've been bitten.
Although alpha-gal is normally harmless, in some cases, people bitten by the lone star tick develop what's called an immune response, meaning that when this bug bites, the body's defence system gets activated, making antibodies to fight against the alpha-gal molecule.
Now, the interesting part is that this alpha-gal is also found in meat. So, if someone gets bitten by the lone star tick and they eat meat, they'll get an allergic reaction. And that means symptoms like hives, itching, swelling, spots, feeling sick, diarrhoea and, well, you get the idea.
Now, we're sure it's not nice being bitten by the lone star tick, and no one wants people to get ill. But it is perhaps a bit strange in a nation famed for its love of burgers and steaks that a little tick might be championing a vegan, meat-free lifestyle.
So what do you think about the lone star tick? Hero or villain?
Before you make up your mind, I've got something that might help you make your decision. It's a recording we've been sent of the lone star tick. This is the sound it makes after it's bitten somebody, so we'll play that to you now.
I think it's definitely a villain.
I think you're probably right. One thing's for sure, never underestimate the little things in life.
Now, because this episode has a lot of small things in it, we thought you'd like to know about the world's smallest mammal and its remarkable secret.
Creature's secret. Creature's secrets.
Creature's secrets.
Creature's secrets. Creature's secrets.
What? Make a secret!
Ooh.
The story of the Etruscan shrew.
And how it's inspiring mini robots.
The Etruscan shrew is tiny. It's like a mouse, but far, far smaller. It lives in North America and it's only about 1.5 inches. That's 4 centimetres long and weighing only as much as a few paper clips. What's amazing about this tiny shrew is that even though it can't see very well, it has a superpower. It uses its long, incredibly sensitive whiskers to find its way around and capture food. Scientists were so fascinated by the way the shrew's whiskers work that they've made a mini robot called Shrewbot.
Shrewbot!
Copying the Etruscan shrew's design. Shrewbot is like a tiny explorer with whiskers. And just like the shrew, it doesn't rely on vision. It uses its sensitive whiskers to work out and remember its surroundings, so it can navigate in places regular robots can't, like in tiny spaces, in the dark, and in smoky rooms. Scientists are already thinking of loads of uses for
Shrewbot!
from checking pipes and cracks in buildings and even fighting fires. And who knows what
Shrewbot!
they do in the future.
Put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
All thanks to the tiny Etruscan shrew.
So that's it for Story Science and Secrets, episode 12. But episode 13 and the next part of Lost on Infinity is out now. If you want to get in touch, you'll find all the information you need in our podcast story notes. And for all of you who sent in questions, we will be answering them in a special episode very soon. But for now, it's goodbye from Steve.
Goodbye.
Matthew. Yeah. Kenny the cat, who's busy downstairs reading his fan mail. And me, Elaine. Goodbye.
Join in world delight, and you could save the world for life. Go and change the world and make it alright. You gotta save the world, it's nice. Come and join in world delight. You go and save the world for life. 'Cause even though you're small, you might.
That wasn't really the sound of a Lone Star tick, was it?
No. No, it wasn't. But it would be good if it was, though, wouldn't it?